Our last point then to wrap it up, and I thought about putting this in first, but I said leave it to the end because there are slightly conflicting things on it from different coaches and all. But 8th commandment, force is so important up to a point. So I would have been guided a lot by the work of Charlie Francis. He was Ben Johnson's coach. I know there are the issues with Ben and taking drugs and everything that way, but there's still so many key principles from the methods of Charlie Francis and how we guide both speed training, but also some of the condition methods we use in GA and how rugby players use them, coaches use them as well. And even just how we plan our training in terms of what a week should look like through if we can use the high-low model, but also around using the long to short or short to long planning approach. But his primary method of getting his sprinters faster was to make them stronger. I've seen a quote that if you want to get fast, you have to be prepared to generate an awful lot of force. And then you generate that force by getting stronger in the weight room. He was a big fan of the classic squats and bench press. Ben Johnson was able to do squat and bench, massive weight. Now he was very much a force dominant athlete. I don't want to go too much into detail on like the profile of the sprinters. You have some who are more force dominant. They'll be better out of the blocks. They'll be more quad driven. Not that it's like that reductionist, but they'll be more suited, say, to the 60 metres. Christian Coleman is a classic example of that in modern sprinting. Then you have your more elastic runners who might not be, like they're still really good, they're world class, but they might not be as good out of the blocks or over that shorter 60 metre distance, but they're way more suited to the slightly longer sprints, the 200 metres. They want to get upright, they want to spring along the ground, they'll spend less time on the ground. It's still microseconds compared to the more force dominant sprinters, but they'll want to just kind of claw the ground along and spring along it. Noel Lyles, Usain Bolt are your classic examples here. It was actually really good back in the 80s how, not that I remember that, but Ben Johnson and Carl Lewis, completely different personalities, completely different backgrounds, but they were also such completely different types of sprinters. Ben Johnson, shorter, stronger, more force dominant, better in the first few metre steps, and Carl Lewis, the complete opposite, very elastic, springy, wanted to bound along the ground, and that's why that carried over so well to the long jump for him as well, whereas I couldn't imagine Ben Johnson being remotely useful at the long jump, but he might have been good at the shot put. That's how they'd work together. Either way, majority of sprinters will probably benefit from getting a lot stronger to a point. The more force you can exert on the ground that pushes into it, the more you're going to cover with each step, and that's essentially how speed and sprinting works. It's not about quickness of feet on the ground or how quickly you can move your feet or lift them. It's how much force you drive into the ground, and that's what propels you forward. Or if you're sidestepping, if you drive your foot into the ground, it's what propels you sideways. If you're jumping up high to catch a ball, it's how much force you can get into the ground to get you up high. Now there is like how quickly you do that and rate of force development and everything as well. I get all that. I know this works up to a point. I don't have any specific rules. I would have seen like various guidelines around. You should be able to trap bar deadlift 2.2 times your body weight, and that is strong enough. Like realistically, it's going to be too different for each athlete you're working with. The majority I have worked with, generally, once they get stronger, they get faster. There are a few situations where they're really, really strong. Getting stronger actually won't help. They need to spend more time developing a bit of reactivity. They need to spend more time just sprinting, do more jumps, do more bounds, maybe even do more throws. Most will probably benefit from doing both anyway. Get a bit stronger, get a bit more reactive, train both of them. They should all be at least in your training week somewhere across of it. And if you're doing pure dedicated speed sessions, they should probably both be in there. Bring us back to our third point. Create your shapes, then develop some form of elasticity, then go and develop intent. And after that, you can stack some proper strength work on top of it and take loads of time to recover. Around like trap bar times body weight, like strength is relative, and getting stronger but also putting on weight, that will have an impact. When it comes to sprinting, you are moving your body weight down the track, over the pitch, around the field, whatever it might be. So while you shouldn't get like overly caught up in your body weight, or say like there are specific ratios you should be, you do need to be mindful of the fact that if you put like 5 to 10 kg on your trap bar, but you also get 3 or 4 or 5 kg heavier, like realistically you're not stronger there because you're not stronger relative to your own body weight. That's why it is worth being mindful of monitoring your weight as you get stronger is important here, and that if your weight stays the same and you get a lot stronger, there's a really, really good chance you're going to get faster there, whereas both weights going up won't necessarily mean you're going to get faster there. One thing I have seen some people use is like how chin-up performance can be not a predictor but a guide of sprint time. It's not that like do more chin-ups will make you faster, but having greater relative strength, particularly in younger players, is a really good predictor of how fast they'll be. Because if you're strong relative to your own body weight, that does show that you'll probably be a good bit faster, because gravity does have a big impact on speed.